whole web reports package for the club director. So they can look at all the teams without logging into their accounts. Okay, so then you can maintain sort of a database. Because my feeling is like if you have year-to-year statistics, now you'll know how good your 12 teams is this year versus next year, your 6 teams, from year to year, and get a real idea about the level of players you want to recruit and what areas that you need to make sure you improve as you go forward. And having this baseline set of data is like really important, I think. Any other questions? We can keep going here as I set up questions. Okay, how many of you are familiar with Rotate 1, 2, 3? Okay, so I'll do a quick demo because here's what happens. Once you've gone through this process of analyzing your team, looking at videos, you might reconsider your systems, okay? And so Rotate 1, 2, 3 really allows for rapid optimization. So let me just show you how it works. We're going to pick 5-1, and then we're going to call this thing demo. And I'm going to use a lineup from a prior game because it really doesn't matter for the demo purposes. So what you see here is a startup screen that where you'll enter your team, right? Put their number and their names in. And we'll go to the positions page, and here we have a template that has a setter and an oppo. This is clearly for a 5-1, okay? So I'm going to just drag some players in kind of randomly. It doesn't matter for this demo. Put them all in here. And then we'll use the libero like most people do. And here we go. And now the libero is going to swap for middle blocker 1 and middle blocker 2. Okay? And let's say she serves for Jessie here. Ooh, remember her? Okay. And then we'll have we'll use a serve specialist. And the serve specialist will be Fran, and she'll come in for the other middle blocker in 1. Okay? All right, so now it's all set up and ready to go. And so your rotation wheel's done already, it's all filled in. And now we'll go to receive, and we'll say, what kind of pattern do we want? We want to use a template that's 3-person. Now we're ready to go. Okay, all the rotations are filled out. Now you can start customizing for your team. All right, so here's an example of a customization. Let's say your H1 isn't great hitting from the right side. And maybe your oppo is not great hitting from the left side, okay? Because that's why they do that job, right? So we can go to a secondary, create an alternate plan. We'll apply the template again. And then we'll move people around to where you want them now. And so I'm going to move my outside hitter out this way. And what happens? What's that red line? Overlap, right. So we have a rotation checker that prevents you from making illegal rotations, okay? Illegal lineups on receipt. So I'm going to bring my outside over here. Okay, and then I'm going to have my oppo do a big fat swing, slide from that side, and then there we go. Okay. So now you've done a quick customization, but the cool thing about this is it allows you to set up all kinds of different alternate plans, move people into specific positions, move people out of positions to hide them because they're not very good at certain jobs, right? And once you're done, what I do is I communicate to my team through a secret Facebook group. Only I'm on it, the other coaches, the players, and the paying parents, so that they can watch, okay? And so I post stats, videos, and these plans on the site, all right? And so nobody can call me now and say, do you have the email from the thing that you sent last week? Go find it. But the beauty of this location is twofold. One, because the kids don't do email, but they do Facebook, I get responses instantly, all right? And the second thing is that because it's a chronological repository, you can actually go back and look at your season and look at other seasons. Because I've been doing this for a while now, and really have lots of good information about what happened at midseason, what were the things that what were those changes that we made that were kind of interesting, right? And it makes that whole communication process super efficient. Okay, so that's one aspect of the product. The other thing is that, particularly for colleges and situations where you have scouting information and you see the opponent a lot. If you go to matchups, you can go in and look at an opponent. So let me pick one of those opponents. All right, and then I don't have my team set up completely here. But basically, this is set up so that I can look at from my receive, right, their serve into my receive into their serve, my offense into their defense, right, for every rotation. And you can slide these back and forth so I can look at what if rotation 4, we start at 4 and we're going to the 2. What's that look like? So the optimization process you can do, through this matchup process with the software makes this thing a lot easier. Okay. Now, you have to remember, this is a website, so it does require connectivity, but, you know, particularly university gyms typically have connections. So if your opponent, who's supposed to come out in 2, comes out in 4, what does that mean for your team? Well, just look this through, you know, slide it around, look at it, okay, and see what kinds of changes that you can make to, you know, give yourself a little bit of an edge again. Okay, so this tool was actually very important for me this year because in my high school league, we played 2 rounds, it's 8 teams, and the top 4 teams were really good and consistent, you know, sort of at the same level. And so I had 3 teams that I played already, had video for them because I have all this video stuff in my technology here. And so I went back and looked at it, reviewed it, and did my matchups against this, and I put out my matchup sheets to the girls. And, you know, we started out that first round, we lost the first one in 5 sets, and we won the next 5 in 5 sets. Okay? So it was a great tool to use, and it really helped the season a lot. And we took the championship, we went 13-1 in our league. So it was very, very helpful, and also a great communication tool, you know, with the girls. Any questions about Rotate? Let me show you a little sample. This is my Woodside site, and here's kind of an analysis, you know, and here's screenshots of stats that I post that they can look at. Okay, so they go through here and look at their numbers. Right, so I post various pieces of the statistics. Right, and then other things like the matchup analysis. So here's us serving into their systems, and we have by each of our players, they know now exactly where they're going to be serving. And I had enough video and sort of understanding of the consistency of the way they came out that I knew they were going to flip their rotations around. And so these plans worked out really well. Okay? And it made a visual for the girls so that they knew exactly where they're going to be. In fact, I went one step further. I actually had clips from the video in those rotations, screenshots of the video that they could see what players look like on the screen. It's like, I'm going to serve between the blonde girl and the brunette, you know, like that. Okay? So all these technologies can really help out and, you know, improve your overall playing process. All right, any other questions? Yes? You know, you can go crazy looking at stats. And that's why this whole WinNow process takes you through systematically to kind of limit the amount of time you spend. And also, we have all those reports so you don't have to generate them. Right? So player ranking is super important to make sure that you got the right people doing the right jobs and they're really hitting the numbers up the way they do. I have key benchmarks, like for example, I want to make sure that we're getting 12 kills per set. And if we're not getting there, why aren't we getting that? You know, I have a baseline passing number that I'd like to achieve, and you'll find that out just in practice, right? How good you pass it, you know, it'll be worse in competition. Right? So no matter how much you do serve-receive statting at practice time, it's not quite the same pressure. But once you establish your baseline of passing, you get a very good idea what's going to happen. As an example, one thing you should note, right? At a typical practice, we'll stat 10 data points per player, and so you need about 50 before you have a sort of a statistically significant sample that's not going to drift. Okay, once you get about 50 data points, typically the top 4 people are always at the top, and then others are kind of doing this as the numbers will go up and down, but they're kind of in the same order. Maybe 1 or 2 people do a little bit of a switch, but not much. And then you might have the athletic person who doesn't have a huge amount of experience get better over time, and maybe they'll come out of the bottom of the pack and start reaching up. But they typically don't catch up with the top players. The top players have been doing, say, club ball for 4 or 5 years or something. It's tough to catch up. Those reps, you know, and all of that hand-eye stuff, right? It's tough to catch up on that. But that's one of the first places that I look at, and then make sure the passing is under control, our service error rates and ace rates are where they're supposed to be, and then look at the kill rates and what's the production of each player.
So you coach, let's say, 40 hours a week.
Well, I don't coach 40 hours a week since you know, I'm a high school guy. Yeah. So like in high school time, practices are 2 hours a day, right? So that's 10 hours of actual court time, right? So off of that, I'm probably spending probably an hour and a half per day for review and analysis, and then prep for the next practice, something like that. But the high school season is really hard because it's every day. Club, I like better because it's spaced out more. There's more time to sort of sit back and absorb what happened. You know, it's hard to get rid of the emotions from the last match to kind of think about the next one. you know, particularly when they kind of are tight and they go the wrong way. Yeah. Other questions? Yes?
My question, is there like a free sample that we can try out? before we
Everything
get-
has a free trial. So Solostats is 7 days free, Rotate 123 is 7 days free, Web Reports is 30 days free, the video product is 7 days free. So you can try any of this stuff, and if your trial expires, just email me and I'll extend it for you if you couldn't get to it. It's not a problem. And I'm basically, you know, on my machine all the time except when I'm at practice. So, you know, people get responses in the middle of the night if they send me, and it happens all the time. So, I get tech support messages from places like Kabul. So, you know, I have a friend in Afghanistan. He's the national team coach. So, it's crazy. Other questions? So if you have any interest in any of the bundles or other questions, I have cards up here. And my contact information is here someplace. It's Kyle@rotate123.com, so it's very easy to get to. You know, just let me know if you have anything else that you need to understand. All right? Thanks for coming.